Okay, I know I'm a little late, but I want to make a video on the one villainous scene playlist that's been going on. I originally intended to talk about Anakin's turn to the dark side, as his story is personally my number one reason why the prequels are fantastic, but unfortunately somebody already did it. But Anakin wasn't the only villain involved in this transformation. There was of course Darth Sidious, and the one scene I wanted to talk about is the scene where Palpatine gives him the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Now when people think about this scene, they think about the tragedy, but there's so much more than just that. First, let me real quick recap the context around this scene. I know a lot of people already know this, but it's important to know. At this point, Palpatine has been watching Anakin for a long time. Anakin has of course grown untrustworthy. The Jedi have done things that seem unfair and go against the Jedi code. His master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has treated Anakin like a child that must obey. Eventually, they grow into a friendship that Obi-Wan would later say was enough to treat them as brothers. But Obi-Wan was not the mentor he needed. He needs a father figure. That's what Qui-Gon was, but unfortunately he was slain on Naboo before his training could even begin. So Palpatine has built this trust with him, not as a commanding mentor or a cool brother, but rather a compassionate and understanding father that genuinely wants to help. At this point in the Clone Wars, Count Dooku has been slain, and General Grievous is still at large. Once he is captured or killed, the war can finally be over. So we come to this moment. Palpatine talks about their business first, how Grievous has finally been found on the sinkhole world of Utapau. Anakin is delighted, but Palpatine brings up that the Jedi may not send him over there.
I would worry about the collective wisdom of the Council if they didn't select you for this assignment. You're the best choice, by far.
Of course, we know that is true.
Hello there.
He then explains that he believes the Jedi are planning to overthrow the Republic. Anakin at first denies this. He has built up the Jedi to be the saviors of the galaxy. He just couldn't imagine them doing something so awful. But Palpatine assures him that he's known about this as well. Anakin does admit they don't trust Palpatine and that his trust is a little messy. Palpatine asks why, but he already knows the answer.
They asked you to do something that made you feel dishonest, didn't they? They asked you to spy on me, didn't they?
Although you could call this Palpatine's manipulation, it is unfortunately true. They then argue about good and evil.
Remember back to your early teachings. All who gain power are afraid to lose it, even the Jedi.
The Jedi use their power for good.
Good is a point of view, Anakin.
This is true. Good and bad are simply points of view. A lion killing a deer is bad from the deer's perspective, but what about the lion starving cubs back at the den? Heck, even today, people have differing opinions as to what actions are terrible and should be made illegal, or if they're a good thing and should be left alone. Killing is awful, but what if the person you're killing has killed many other people and is too dangerous to be left alive? Sound familiar?
He was too dangerous to be kept alive.
He's too dangerous to be left alive.
Once again, Anakin is in denial. Again, the Jedi asked him to spy on the Chancellor of the Galactic Republic. This is clearly bad, right? But surely they just want to make sure he's not a Sith Lord, right? But he is making assumptions.
The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for greater power.
The Sith rely on their passion for their strength. They think inwards, only about themselves.
And the Jedi don't.
The Jedi are selfless. They only care about others.
This once again shows how clever Palpatine is. He wants Anakin on his side, but nobody wants to do evil things just for the sake of being evil. Almost every villain is a good guy in his own story, and Palpatine understands this. And then comes the moment you were most likely waiting for.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
We of course know the story. Plagueis was so powerful that he could apparently save the people he loved from dying. This is of course something Anakin wants. Palpatine knows that Anakin is having dreams of his wife Padme dying at childbirth. In fact, I like to believe that Palpatine put those dreams in his head. So he offers him a chance to save her. Something to note is when he mentions Plagueis' death and the smile he gives here. Of course, Palpatine was his apprentice, and this falls in line with the Sith way. There can only be two. The reason being so when the master grows too old, the apprentice will want to overthrow him and take over himself. This is to help the Sith rule the galaxy for an eternity. But back to Resurrection. When Anakin asks if he can learn his power, Palpatine responds with,
Is it possible to learn this power?
Not from a Jedi.
This is the nail in the coffin. Finally, Anakin has full reason to want to join the dark side. Palpatine first started with talking about how the Jedi are good only from a certain perspective. They say they do good, but also do seemingly evil things, hypocritical. He then eases into what Anakin wants most, to save his wife, therefore making it easier for him. Had he started with Darth Plagueis, Anakin would have suspected he was evil, but Palpatine knew he had to gain his trust first. This scene, in my opinion, is the best scene involving Darth Sidious. It expertly shows why he's a master manipulator, cunning and evil. How he has to gain the trust of this man before offering this selling your soul to the devil stuff. And add Ian McDermott's fantastic performance as the cherry on top makes this one villainous scene.